Shalom, 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 Yasharala. This your boy, Brother Samuel, back at you with another quick edifying video. Right, today's lesson is going to be called, Then the End Shall Come. Right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem Mashiach Yahushai, Bahashem Rakak Kodash. Right, it's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly called Jesus, whose name is Yahweh Shai, in the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone from Tahar on down, who have ruled well through the Spirit and has fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel to the four corners of the globe. Right. But like I said, this lesson is going to be called "Then the End Shall Come." Right. So just thinking, randomly, and I was reading the book of Matthew, right? And let's get this, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And let's just start at verse 14, right? It says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end, Salakia, and then shall the end come." Right? So this gospel, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking, right? It says, "This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end will come." Right? So, just I'm pondering that, right? And then when you think about it, right, you look at Christianity, right, per se, right? And Christianity has been around for thousands of years, right? It's been pushed all over this place, right? How many? 100 times probably over. You know what I mean? And the end has not come, right? And that just kind of shows you that's not the true way, right? This so-called Christianity today is not what is not this true doctrine and understanding, man, right? Because this thing has been around, what I'm saying, for, like I say, for thousands of years, man. And this thing has it's been preached everywhere, all around, right? But Yahweh Shai said, when this and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, right? And it's crazy because just now recently we start to see prophecies and things unfolding, right, quicker and faster, right? And it's the same time that, guess what, this truth and this understanding is spreading across the four corners of the earth, man, right? Because we know that when you think about Christianity, right, you get the little old, the little wooden cross, and you got the songs, when you're sitting there, right? You got Caesar Borgia. Let's see. You got Caesar Borgia over here, walking with the wooden cross, right? And the thing about it is, just like Yahweh Shai said, guess what? The Salakia, this thing is tripping. Just like Yahweh Shai said that this gospel is going to be pushed around the four corners of the earth and to all nations, right? But we understand too in the book of Deuteronomy, right? That was going to be the one of the curses too, right? Deuteronomy, let's see. What do I want? Let's try this. Yep, let's see. This is Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64. It says, "And Yahweh Shema Shai shall scatter thee among all nations from one of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone," right? And that wood is talking about Christianity, right? This worshiping this wood, man, that wooden cross of Christianity, right? And we know that stone is representing the cobblestone or Islam, right? And those are the two major religions, right? That have flooded this earth, man, right? With this false narrative, man, right? Because when you look at it, um, when you look at this, it says that there are. Where does it say it? It says there's roughly 2.8 billion followers of Christianity, right? So it says representing 1/3 of the global population, right? So 2.8 billion followers, right? And we know that Yahushua said that many are called, but few are chosen, right? You think about 2.8 billion people, man, right? 2.8 billion people, right, are so-called in Christianity, right? You think about who's in Christianity, right? You got all different types. You got people, Jake and E, right? They all up in Christianity, right? You got so-called. You got these what's the word? You got these, white supremacists, right? Who practice Christianity, right? They practice Christianity and this, that, and the other, right? So how is that a true, how is that true understanding, man? Right? But it said that this gospel, the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, right? So let's get into the gospel real quick, right? Let's see what it consists of, right? Let's go to the book of Luke, right? It's the book of Luke, chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 16, right? And it says, and he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and it was his custom. His custom. He went into the synagogue on the Sabbath and stood up for to read. Right, and this is talking about Yahweh Shai. So back in the day, when the Yahweh Shai, everybody didn't just have, a holy Bible, laying around. Right, they had to come on the Sabbath and listen to the scriptures being read and get understanding. There wasn't no take home Bible, man, right? You had these scrolls and all these different things, right? So it says, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, right? This gospel is to the poor. We know that when we read the scriptures and the precepts, right, the poor is Israel, man, right? He have sent me to heal the brokenhearted, right? When you look at the scriptures, the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are the brokenhearted, man, to preach deliverance to the captives, right? Well, we understand, right, in the book of Baruch 3 and 8, that behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us as a reproach and a curse, right? Baruch 4 and 6, you were sold to the nations, right? What people were sold into captivity? What people are still in captivity this day, man, right? This is talking about you, right? It says to preach deliverance to the captives. That means, guess what? That captivity is going to end. This is what the gospel is. This is the good news. That guess what? The captivity is going to be over with. It's coming to an end. It says, in recovering sight to the blind, right? Because guess what? In the book of Isaiah, right? The Most High had blinded our people, man, where we couldn't see. We didn't, He gave us eyes that we couldn't see and ears that we couldn't hear, right? It says to set liberty to them that are bruised and to preach the acceptable year of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? So the day of the Lord, man, right? All this is part of the gospel. The gospel is basically the good news for who? For the Israelites, for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because guess what? It's our deliverance, right? And it's really the deliverance of the elect of Israel, right? Because we know that ultimately 2/3 of our people, according to Zechariah 13:8, are going to be destroyed, right? But a third of our people, are going to, of the elect are going to be brought out of this place, man. And that's the good news that guess what? That soon to come, our deliverance is near, right? And what we got to understand, it says, this gospel and this kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, right? And if we understand, in Deuteronomy 28:64, it said that we were going to be scattered among all the nations. So this is why the gospel has to be preached. This truth has to be preached to all nations. And once it reaches all nations, so the elect who are scattered across the four corners, it said, then the end shall come, right? So you just think about it, man. Christianity's been around for thousands of years and been around and around, man. And ain't nothing happened, right? Everything was pretty quiet, right? But now we see with us starting to wake up, right? Because let's get this, right? It was prophesied that, we were going to lose, what is that? Jeremiah, what is that? 14. Salakia, if I can't really remember. Salakia, 17:4. This is Jeremiah 17:4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Right? So it was prophesied that we were going to lose who we were, right? And ultimately in this captivity that we were in, we lost ultimately who we were, right? Because guess what? When we got off those slave ships, we couldn't read, right? We didn't have our clothing, right? They took us on ships, when you watch the movies, right? And that's why I used to wonder too why they brought all these people naked and put them on a ship, right? Because guess what? Even if we had on our garments with our fringes, right, we would remember, because those were used to help give us remembrance, right? So they brought us here on slave ships, butt naked, right? And then guess what? When we got off the slave ships, right, we couldn't read. We couldn't read books. And if we read books, they cut out your tongue or kill you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? Through that time, we lost who we were. We lost our heritage, and now we didn't know who we are, right? And then we conform to Christianity, man. We conform to Islam and all these other religions, and we lost our true heritage of who we really are, right? And and that's what's important now, is that we're getting this true understanding now, this true doctrine, and understanding who we are, and now the end is come, right? So let's get this, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna skip that, right? So we know that we're scattered abroad. So let's get this. Let's go to the book of James, right? 1:1. It says, James, a servant of the Most High, of Yahweh Bashim Ashai, Salakia. It says, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting, right? The 12 tribes are scattered abroad. We're everywhere in all nations, man. All nations of people, man, right? So this is why this gospel must be preached through the four corners of the earth, right? And the thing about it is, Yahweh Bashim Shai, has us go out, right, to the highways and hedges and to compel the people, right? Um, whether they hear, whether they forbear, right? But we gotta get out here and warn the people and push this gospel to the four corners of the earth, right? Let's get this real quick. This is Ezekiel 3. I'll start at verse 4. And it says, "And he said unto me, Son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel." Right? So you know, we go out to speak to our people, man. I'll jump down to verse 10. It says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thine heart and hear with thine ears." Right? So, your heart, the scriptures is talking about your brain and your mind, man. Receive, process it in your mind and hear with your ears, right? Because a lot of times we didn't hear, right? I remember hearing that, guess what? Hamashiach was, he was a so-called black man, but I never just put it together to understand that, hold on, hold on. He's so-called black and I'm so-called black. Hold on. We never put it together, man, right? You'll talk to even Christians, so-called Christians now, and they'll get that part, but then they don't understand the whole thing. You know what I mean? Hey, he came from the tribe of Judah, right? The so-called American blacks are from the tribe of Judah, right? We didn't put it together, right? The Lord didn't give us that understanding. You know what I mean? And it says, verse 11, it says, "And go get thee to them of the captivity unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus saith Yahweh Shem Yahshai, thy power, whether they will hear and whether they will forbear." Right? And that's the biggest thing, is to go out here and push this truth out, this word, man. Right? The Most High said whether they hear or whether they forbear. Right? But we got to get this and push this gospel to the four corners of the earth. Right? Whether they hear or whether they forbear, man. Right? And the biggest way that we're doing that now, right, is through the internet, right? The internet. So let's get this real quick, right? And then the gospel shall preach. Actually, matter of fact, let's get this. Isaiah. What is it? Isaiah 55, verse number 11. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." Right? So whatever Yahweh Shem Yahshai says, hey, it's gonna go out and it's gonna accomplish what it's set out to be. Right? And Yahweh Shai said that, guess what? This gospel is gonna be preached off the four corners of the earth, and then the end shall come. Right? And now we see the end finally coming, when, guess what? We're starting to awake and understand who we are. Right? Now we're seeing what's going on, and now we see that the end is finally is draws nigh. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's get that right. And we know that through the internet, right, or the unicorn, this stuff is being manifest, man. Right? How about Shema Shai's word is going out in full effect, right? So this is Psalms 19. I'll start at verse 1. It says, the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament show his handiwork. It says, the day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth his knowledge. Right? And that's talking about, like, you see how the internet, it never cuts off. You can always go on and get information, get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Right? You can go on the internet, you can go on YouTube, you can go on and get these lessons and get this understanding, and you can feed yourself. It says day and night, right? Day and night showeth knowledge. It says there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard, right? Because you got brothers, in across the four corners of the earth, speaking all different types of language, and you can go on and get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? You got brothers speaking in Spanish. Right? You got Israelites everywhere. You got Israelites in China. You got Israelites all over this whole planet, man. Right? And in their language, this truth is getting spread to the four corners of the earth, man, for everybody, for the 12 tribes to get that understanding, right? It says their line is gone through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, right? And that sun, represents that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But the line has gone out, man, right? And you just think about how, even in the early times of the internet, man, right? It was ran through a wire, right? The telephone wire, right? And you had the little crazy little sound that would sound out, and it process and give you information, man. But now this this internet, is much faster, right? And it goes out and it processes, through these big hubs, processes the information and shoots it out like in milliseconds, man. You get this understanding, right? So this is what this is talking about. This is talking about the internet and how this word is getting out, because a lot of people who are waking up to this truth have learned this from the internet, have learned it from the internet, the YouTube and these different, platforms, of who they are in these last days, right? Let's get another one, right? Matter of fact, Salakia. Let's get this real quick. Let's get this. This is 2nd Ezra 6:20. And it says, and when the world shall begin to vanish away, Salakia, 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 20, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together, right? And now this book, right, you can go on night and day, 24 hours, day and night. You can go in, you can type in any book you want, the book of Genesis. You can type in the verse, right? You can type in second ed, like you can just literally type this stuff in, and now it's just been opened for everybody to see. It's free, right? This knowledge is here, and it's freely just being put out here, man. Right? All you need is a connection, right? You need that line to connect, right? And you can get this under this. All this information is right here, right, in the front of our hands, right? Let's see. Let's go to the book of Romans, right? Let's go to the book of Romans. We're going to go to 10 and verse number 15. And it says, and how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things, right? So this is the work that we should be doing, man, right? We should be preaching this gospel to the four corners of the earth, man, right? And ultimately, a lot of us so-called Black, Hispanics, and Americans, and we ain't got no, private jet or money to hop on planes to go to these different places and teach, right? And this is the opportunity that we're getting, is to go and use the unicorn, which is the internet, to preach this gospel to the four corners and reach the brothers and sisters who are scattered abroad in these other nations, to preach this gospel and truth to them, right? It says, but they, verse 16, it says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah said, Yahweh Shemashai, who has believed our report. So then faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High, right? It says, But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. And how are our words getting into the end of the world? It's by, guess what, that unicorn, which is the internet, man, which is pushing this truth everywhere, right? Pushing it all around, right? And like we said, once we start doing this, we know that the end is coming. We know that the end is coming. We can see all the different things. Yahushua gave us a breakdown of what was to come, right? Because we know that Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy, and he showed us, man, right? When you see earthquakes in diverse places, right? And you see like you got Turkey who keeps getting hit by earthquakes over and over again, right? You got signs in the sky, signs and wonders in the sky. You see it all the time, man. Right? You got rumors of war. You got Korea and North Korea or South Korea and the U.S. training together in airplane missions. You got North Korea shooting out ICBM missiles, right? Trying to test this stuff in the water. Hey, we see these rumors of wars, right? And we know that the end draws nigh, man, right? But it says, but I say, verse 18 again, but I say, have they not heard, right? At this point, you've seen brothers and sisters on the corners that you probably looked at and just kept it moving, right? But they was out here pushing this gospel and this truth, man, to the four corners of the earth. It says, yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world, right? And the words have went unto the end of the world, right? Because guess what? It's at a point where you can't sit here and click on YouTube and not see some brothers out here teaching, man, teaching this truth, man, right? Teaching this understanding. All right, let's get another one, right? So, like I said, this gospel shall be preached, and then the end shall come, right? This is the book of Psalm, right? Chapter 92 and verse number 10, right? And it reads, but my unicorn shall exalt like the horn of a unicorn. But my horn shall thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil, right? We know that oil, is what's the representation of understanding, man, right? And that horn is like a unicorn. So when you even look at like how like a satellite, it has that pointy edge, looks like a horn, man, like a unicorn, right? And it continues to process information, right, back and forth, right, between there and then across the globe, right? That understanding is being exhorted like a horn, right? When you blow a horn, right, that sound protrudes and spreads out across a vast amount of area, right? Let's get this. This is the book of stay in the book of Psalms, right? Let's go to 22 and verse 21. And it reads, save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns of the unicorn, right? From the horns of the unicorn, man, right? Salaki, and a lot of us, when we came into this understanding, man, we were at a very low estate, man, right? We were, almost to the point of giving up, man. Like, we were just, the Most High a lot of times talk to us when we're sitting down on the ground in the dust, right, in our lowest estate. And that's when he's able to reach us, right? I know that's what happened to me, man. I was at the lowest of low. And, all of a sudden I clicked on, the YouTube, and all of a sudden, guess what? I saw, some people talking about, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans or Israelites. I'm like, hold on, wait, what? You know what I mean? I had to hear more about it, man, right? And guess what? You know what I'm saying? He saved me on my way to destruction, because all I was doing was just out here thinking I'm living life, man, going to work, right? And trying to make money and do this and do that, man. Not knowing, understanding that there was a true purpose for me out here, And it wasn't sitting here trying to work a 9 to 5 or a 12-hour days and, 7 days a week type work, man, until I'm burnt out, and perish, man. Right? Salakia. So let's get this right. So we know that, like I said, this the unicorn is what's pushing this truth and this true doctrine, right? And we know that understand that this true doctrine is here now because we know that we see it being pushed to the four corners of the earth, and now we know that the end is come, right? And this was all prophesied from the beginning, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, right? Chapter 30 and verse number Salakia. Deuteronomy 30 and verse number 1, right? And it says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, right? And now we, in the curses, man, right? It says, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether Yahweh Shemashai have driven thee, right? So we know that we're scattered in all these different nations, right? It says, and thou shalt return unto Yahweh Shemashai thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh Shemashai thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and return and gather thee from all nations, whether Yahweh Shemashai have gathered, Salakia has scattered thee, right? And it says, and if any of thine be driven out to the uttermost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh Shemashai thy power gather thee, and from thence will I fetch thee. And Yahweh Shemashai thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers, right? And that's what this gospel is here to tell us, man, right? That ultimately this time is coming, man. That's what the prophets, everybody, was out here to warn and show our people that, guess what? This time is coming, man. The end is come. The end is come, right? And this is what Yahushua said perfectly, man, right? So in Deuteronomy, basically just told you, man, that in the land of our captivity, we were going to remember, right, who we are in these last days, and we're going to come back to our power, right? And that's how we know that we're headed back, we're headed to the end, man. Right? So let's just get this again and we'll close it out. Right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse number 14. Right? And it says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Right? And we see it now with our own eyes, man. It's a glorious time to be alive in these days, man, and to be in these scriptures and getting this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Right? Because we know that the end has come, right? And so that we be not afraid, right? Because we know that that Yahweh Shemashai, right, and Yahweh Shai have prophesied to us of what's to come and what to expect, man. We know that, this place is going to be ultimately destroyed, man, right? And we're gonna be brought back to our rightful state, and to our kingdom, man, right, in the land of Israel, man. So with that, I hope this has been edifying, right? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I just want to say Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect. Stay strong. Stay praying. Keep praying for one another, man. Stay diligent. Keep focused, man. And keep pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth, man. And with that, shalom.